January 15th, 1947, Los Angeles, the city of dreams, where glamour sparkled on every street corner, where young women came chasing fame and fortune under the glittering lights of Hollywood. But on that cold winter morning, the dream turned into a nightmare in a vacant lot in the quiet Leimert Park neighborhood. A mother walking with her young daughter noticed something pale in the grass. At first she thought it was a discarded mannequin, but as she drew closer, horror set in. It wasn't a mannequin at all. It was the body of a young woman, severed in half, drained of blood, her face slashed into a grotesque, chilling smile. The woman was 22-year-old Elizabeth Short, a struggling actress who came to Hollywood chasing stardom. Instead, she became the victim of one of the most brutal murders in American history, a case that remains unsolved to this very day. The press gave her a name that would forever define her, the Black Dahlia. Inspired by her dark hair, her striking looks, and a noir film called The Blue Dahlia, the nickname captured the public's imagination, but it also reduced her from a person to a legend. The Black Dahlia case shook Los Angeles like an earthquake. Reporters flooded the city. Police chased hundreds of leads. Dozens of men were questioned. Confessions poured in, but none held up. The murder was too strange, too calculated, too monstrous. Who killed Elizabeth Short? Was it a jealous lover, a deranged stranger, or someone powerful enough to hide the truth? Over the years, theories multiplied from twisted surgeons to Hollywood elites, even whispers of police corruption. But what makes the Black Dahlia murder so terrifying is not just the brutality of the crime, it's the emptiness it left behind. A woman forgotten in life became immortal in death, her mystery haunting Los Angeles for more than 75 years. Tonight, we step back into the shadows of Hollywood's golden age and into its darkest crime. We'll follow Elizabeth's journey, uncover the grisly details of the murder, track the frantic investigation, explore the suspects who might have been her killer, and confront the chilling theories that still haunt this case. By the end, you'll understand why the Black Dahlia is not just a murder story. It's a curse, one that Hollywood has never been able to escape. Welcome to the Black Dahlia murder, Hollywood's darkest unsolved crime. Before she became the Black Dahlia, Elizabeth Short was simply a young woman chasing dreams. Born in 1924 in Boston, she grew up during the Great Depression. Her father abandoned the family, leaving her mother to raise 5 daughters alone. Elizabeth, known as Beth to her friends, grew up fascinated by movies, glamour, and the idea of escape. She was beautiful, raven black hair, porcelain skin, and striking blue eyes. But more than that, she was restless. She longed for adventure, romance, and stardom. Like countless young women of her generation, she drifted toward California, hoping the magic of Hollywood would transform her life. Elizabeth bounced between jobs, waitress, clerk, occasional model, but stardom eluded her. Friends described her as charming, mysterious, and sometimes secretive. She lived on the edge, moving from place to place, relying on friends and boyfriends for support. She loved the nightlife, dressed in black, and left behind an air of enigma wherever she went. But beneath the glamour and charm was a young woman struggling to find stability in a city that chewed people up. Hollywood was full of broken dreams, and Elizabeth was walking a fine line between chasing her future and falling into its shadows. That fragile balance would shatter in January 1947. On the morning of January 15, 1947, Los Angeles police were called to a shocking scene in Leimert Park. In an empty lot on Norton Avenue lay the body of a young woman. At first glance, officers thought it was staged. The corpse was cut cleanly in half at the waist, drained of blood, and laid out with eerie precision. The mutilation was unlike anything they had ever seen. The killer had carved her face from ear to ear, creating a disturbing Glasgow smile. Her body had been scrubbed, washed, and positioned deliberately. There was no blood at the scene, meaning she had been killed elsewhere and carefully placed there. Reporters arrived almost instantly. In 1947, Los Angeles was the tabloid capital of America, and the press swarmed the crime scene, taking photos before investigators could secure it. Within hours, the story was everywhere. When Elizabeth Short was identified, the newspapers branded her the Black Dahlia. The nickname captured the dark glamour of the crime, and from that moment, she ceased to be Elizabeth, the young woman, and became a symbol of horror and fascination. The LAPD launched one of the largest investigations in its history. Hundreds of detectives were assigned, and more than 150 suspects were questioned. Yet, the more they searched, the stranger the case became. Elizabeth's life came under scrutiny. Reporters painted her as a femme fatale, a party girl with dozens of lovers, though much of it was exaggerated. They portrayed her as a mysterious woman who courted danger. But friends insisted she was simply unlucky, often trusting the wrong people. The press frenzy only complicated the case. Reporters published sensational headlines, fabricated rumors, and even interfered with evidence. Tips poured in, but most led nowhere. Then the killer made contact. Days after the murder, the Los Angeles Examiner received a chilling package. Inside were Elizabeth's personal belongings, her birth certificate, business cards, photos, and an address book. Everything had been carefully cleaned with gasoline to remove fingerprints. The package came with a note cut from newspaper clippings. Here is Dahlia's belongings. Letter to follow. The letters continued, mocking the police, taunting investigators. One read, turning myself in on Wednesday, January 29th. Had my fun at Police Black Dahlia Avenger, but no one ever showed. The letters were the work of a sadistic killer who wanted to ensure his crime remained in the spotlight. The city was paralyzed with fear. Women avoided walking alone at night. Parents warned their daughters. Rumors spread that a serial killer was loose. The LAPD was under immense pressure, yet the more they investigated, the more suspects they uncovered. Doctors, actors, businessmen, even police officers were considered, but every lead ended in a dead end. Over the decades, more than 20 people have been seriously considered as suspects. Among them were Dr. George Hodel, a wealthy, eccentric physician whose son later accused him of being the killer. Hodel was known for his parties, his ties to Hollywood elites, and his disturbing behavior. Audio recordings from the 1940s even captured him saying, "Supposing I did kill the Black Dahlia, they couldn't prove it now. They can't talk to my secretary because she's dead." Mark Hansen, a nightclub owner who knew Elizabeth and allegedly obsessed over her. Some believe she rejected his advances and paid the price. Walter Bailey, a surgeon who lived near the dump site, with skills matching the precise dissection of the body. Other theories, some believe the killing was linked to organized crime, a Hollywood cover-up, or even a copycat inspired by earlier crimes. Despite endless suspects, no one was ever charged. Each theory raised chilling possibilities, but none provided definitive proof. The Black Dahlia case became a cultural phenomenon. It inspired films, books, and endless speculation. Elizabeth Short's tragic story became a symbol of Hollywood's dark underbelly, the broken dreams, the predators hiding in plain sight, and the vulnerability of women chasing stardom. The murder also changed Los Angeles forever. It revealed cracks in the LAPD, exposed the sensationalism of the press, and turned a real young woman into a myth. But beneath the myth was still Elizabeth, a 22-year-old girl who wanted more than the life she was given. She didn't deserve to be remembered only as a gruesome headline. Her murder remains officially unsolved, and perhaps that's why it endures, because the lack of answers fuels the imagination. Who was the Black Dahlia's killer? A doctor, a stranger, or someone she trusted? The truth may never be known, and that is what makes this story Hollywood's darkest crime. Elizabeth Short came to Hollywood looking for a future. Instead, she became its darkest legend. The murder that ended her life has never been solved, and perhaps that's why it still haunts us. It's not just the brutality of the crime that lingers, it's the silence that followed. The Black Dahlia was more than a victim. She was a daughter, a sister, a friend, a young woman with hopes and flaws, with laughter and dreams. But the press, the police, and even history itself reshaped her into something else, a symbol, a headline, a mystery. Her case embodies the paradox of Hollywood, a place where beauty is worshipped but also exploited, a city that promises stardom but often delivers heartbreak. Elizabeth Short became both the face of a hopeful dreamer and the body of a nightmare. Decades later, the questions remain. Did a surgeon's steady hand dissect her body? Did a spurned lover lose control? Was her death part of a wider conspiracy, buried under the corruption of the LAPD and the influence of powerful men? Or was it the work of a sadist who simply vanished into the night? Every theory opens a door. Every suspect raises more questions, and the evidence, washed away in gasoline and time, has left us only shadows. But maybe that's why the Black Dahlia continues to fascinate us. She is unsolved, she is unfinished, and mysteries that never end, never die. When you look at her story, you see more than just a crime scene. You see the danger of a world that preys on the vulnerable. You see the hunger of a city that devours its dreamers, and you see a case that refuses to give closure because closure means forgetting. And the Black Dahlia will never be forgotten. So tonight, as we step away from the crime scenes, the suspects, and the unanswered questions, I leave you with this. Do you believe the Black Dahlia's killer has already been named, hiding in plain sight within the suspects we've discussed? Or do you think the true murderer has escaped history completely, taking their secret to the grave? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want more journeys into the shadows of America's past, the legends, the myths, the curses, and the crimes that still whisper from the dark, then make sure you like this video, subscribe, and ring the bell, because more stories are waiting, more mysteries demand to be told. This has been the Black Dahlia murder, Hollywood's darkest unsolved crime. Until next time, stay curious, stay watchful, and remember, the brightest lights always cast the darkest shadows.